Sahana Vavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Saha Viryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Samasta Jana Kalyane Niratam Karunamayam Namami Chinmayam Devam Satgurum Brahmavitvaram Satgurum Brahmavitvaram. Om Shri Chinmaya Satgurave Namaha. 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 Sarva Vedanta Siddhanta Gocharam Tamagocharam Govindam Paramanandam Satgurum Pranatosmyaham. Satgurum Pranatosmyaham. The uniqueness of texts like Vivekachoodamani is that it elaborates a lot of important aspects in our scriptures. Upanishads are known for very terse, precise mantras. If student has to meet the teacher, at the most there will be 1 or 2 mantras in Upanishads. Student came, met the teacher, asked the question, teaching began. In Vivekachoodamani, the same meeting of the teacher will be explained in 30-40 verses. The student comes, then he praises the teacher using poetry. Then he presents his questions in front of the teacher. Teacher is happy, teacher praises the student. Then the teaching starts. Only when we study, elaborate, in detail, we can appreciate the terse mantras of Upanishads. So Mundaka Upanishad said, Pariksha lokan karmachitan brahmanaha. There is a student who has analyzed the world. Nirvedam ayat. He has gotten vairagya. Nasti akruta krutena. The uncaused truth cannot be attained through any action. Tadvijnanartham sagurum eva abhigachet. To know that truth, one should go to the teacher. He has gone to the teacher. And who is the guru? Shrotriyam Brahmanishtam. Guru is Shrotriya and Brahmanishta. He has gone with Samit Panihi, holding faggot sticks, showing his humility for the teacher. Only 1 verse. No more elaboration on what are the qualities of the student. But in Vivekachoodamani, it is elaborated. So that is the portion we were seeing right now. Student meeting the teacher. Teacher tells him that this truth can be known through Shraddha, Bhakti, Dhyana and Yoga. 46th verse mentioned this. Whatever we study, we should study with faith. Even if you are not convinced, take it in with faith. One day we will come to see the truth of that knowledge. Don't dismiss anything as untrue. Dismiss anything as false. Don't dismiss anything as false. That quality is very important for a seeker. Then the teacher spoke to the student in the 47th verse and addressed the student as Paramatma. And he said, your problem is not because of some person, some situation. The root cause of our sorrow is because of ajnana. Every chapter of Bhagavad Gita is called some yoga. Arjuna Vishada Yoga, Sankhya Yoga, Karma Yoga, Dhyana Yoga. Purpose of all this yoga is to remove Ajnana Yoga. Ajnana Yoga is identification with conditionings due to ignorance. That infinite self has come to think of itself to be this body and mind. That itself is Ajnana Yoga, the root cause of all our problems. After this identification takes place, that is when the ego is born. Without identifying with body and mind and intellect, there is no ego. Perceptible ego is born when consciousness identifies with conditioning. In deep sleep, we don't identify with conditionings. We are happy and blissful. No conditionings, no ego. Enter conditioning, enters ego. That is Ajnana Yoga, and teacher says this is what we have to address. Ajnana Yogat Paramatmastava Anatma Bandha Tata Eva Samsrutihi. We are holding on to Anatma. That is why our samsara is not ending. But there is one way to end samsara, which is by lighting this fire of knowledge, Viveka Vahni, which will bring light in our life and remove samsara. Viveka between what is the nature of self and not self. Having discerned that, understanding I am the self, and distancing, dissociating from the not self. But careful here, not self will start with what? Vasanas, body, mind, intellect. Everything will be included in not self. So that Viveka between who I really am and what I think myself to be, that Viveka is the Chudamani of Viveka, crest jewel of all discernment, Vivekachoodamani. With a calm mind, when a person thinks about it, this teacher says knowledge has to take place. Don't doubt. Many people have walked this path, the same path I am going to show you. That also he had mentioned previously. Now the student very respectfully puts forth his questions. Passive voice he uses. O teacher, may listening be done by thou. Questions are being asked by me. And he asks 7 questions. That was the 49th verse. Let us chant that verse together. Ko nama bandha kathamesha agatah katham pratisthasya katham vimoksha ko savanatma paramah ka atma tayor viveka kathametaducchatam. First question is, ko nama bandha? What is bondage? Second question, katham esha agatah? Where has it come from? If I get lost in a forest on a hike, what is one way of getting out? Think how I got there first. This tree I saw, that tree I saw. He said, trace that thing back, you will reach. So how has it come about? So I can trace my journey out. Katham pratishtha asya? What is feeding this bondage? Because there are moments when I understand I am the truth. But that same sadhaka feels there are moments when I feel I am bound again. What is feeding it such that I can end it for good? Katham pratishtha asya, katham vimoksha? How can I be free from this bondage? If conditionings are my bondage, how can I be free from these conditionings for good? I know I am not the mind, but still I identify with the mind. How can I be free from this? Kaha asau anatma. You said my identification with anatma is the cause of bondage. Please explain elaborately what exactly is this anatma. Anatma generally we feel is rock and tree and so on, which is outside, inert objects. Is that what it is, or is it more refined? Kaha asau anatma. Hey Guru, you called me Paramatma. Paramah ka Atma. Were you referring to me only? Or something else that I don't appreciate it yet? Just imagine, you walk into some place and somebody calls you, hey Parameshwar. What will you say? I am this person, not Parameshwar. That is what he is asking. Please explain what Atma were you referring to? Tayor Vivekaha Katham. How to discern between Atma and Anatma clearly, such that I don't identify with conditionings again. We should remember, the student of Vivekachoodamani, this is not his first Vedanta class. He is a very mature student, but he is seeking abidance. That is why, by around 264th verse of Vivekachoodamani, majority of the teaching is done. After that, there is one verse which comes, in spite of knowing the truth, why do we keep falling back to our older habits? Then the remaining portion is talking about meditation, repeated repetition of this knowledge, repeated practice of this knowledge. That is another 250 verses. But his point is, don't just tell me that this is Atma, this is Anatma. Tell me such that I don't identify with Anatma. 7 questions he asks. Now teacher says, I've had many students. Different people ask different questions. But your question is something which is very special. Why is it special? You see what he says. 50th verse. Shri Guru Ruvacha Dhanyosi Kruta Krutyosi Pavitam Te Kulam Tvaya Yada Vidya Bandha Muktya Brahmi Bhavitumicchasi Dhanyosi Kruta Krutyosi Pavitam Te Kulam Tvaya Yada Vidya Bandha Muktya Brahmi Bhavitumicchasi. Teacher is overjoyed to see such a student who is having the qualifications and is sincerely seeking Brahmavidya. He says, you are indeed blessed. Dhanyaha asi. The beauty of Vivekachoodamani is, 500 plus verses later, student says, Dhanyaha asmi. I am Dhanya, I am blessed. Where has that forest fire gone? Which was burning me, scorching me, I don't see it anymore. So why is the teacher calling the student as Dhanya over here? He says, many people understand life to be forest fire now and then. Whenever things are not going well, things are difficult, either with our own body and mind or with some near and dear one. So that time we feel, Bhagavan, what is this samsara? But very quickly things become okay. Suddenly it doesn't appear to be some forest fire anymore. What is the uniqueness of the student? Even when things are good, he feels this world is like a forest fire. See, to see sorrow as sorrow, we don't need too much sadhana. We don't need much maturity. To see worldly joy as sorrow, to see worldly joy as sorrow, that needs spiritual maturity. So he says you are dhanya because you have analyzed the nature of the world correctly. Think about it. Do we feel our life is forest fire, or we feel sometimes it is forest fire? That is the difference. For this student, conditionings themselves have become a burden. Because he has heard the truth. He has heard in satsang that you are the self. Now he says, why am I unable to let go of what I am not? That is bothering me. That is one reason why it is said, Dhanya Asi. Another reason is, many people appreciate that to be a good person is a good goal in life. But very few people appreciate there is something beyond being a good person also. Compared to an erroneous lifestyle, good lifestyle is much better. Dharmic lifestyle is much better. But majority will be happy with this dharmic lifestyle. Very few will want to go beyond dharmic lifestyle also. Think about this as 3 stations, okay? First station is called as Swechachara. Swechachara means whatever comes to our mind, we do. So who is the boss here? Sense organs. They see an object, they will go. Who is the disciple here? Mind. So my chariot is being pulled by my sense organs, and mind is following wherever the sense organs are going. Charioteer is the sense organ. Another person, second stage. First one was Swechachara. Second person is Dharmachara. Dharmachara means his intellect is guiding where he should go. Do's and don'ts are guided by the intellect. Sense organs might say, eat this, watch this, go here, go there. But his decision is not based on sense organs reporting. His decision is that the right thing for me? Am I supposed to be doing this? That is called as Dharmachara. Hindi words are more apt over here, Mind following sense organs is called Manamani. Manmani means what? जो मन में आता है वो करता है. Mind following sense organs. Sense organs following buddhi will be called what? Buddhimani. One is Manmani lifestyle, another is Buddhimani lifestyle. Now between these two, we don't have too much doubts. To go from Swechachara to Dharmachara, nobody has doubts whether we should go or not. But if you say there is something which is beyond Dharmachara also, called as Brahmavichara, whoever gets this sincere quest is dhanya. The only catch here is I cannot go from station 1 to station 3 directly. If somebody is living life of Swechachara, one morning he wakes up and says, I want to do Brahmavichara. That will not work. He'll get frustrated with Vedanta and spirituality. Because mind is turbulent, mind is extroverted. That mind which has been tamed through Dharmachara feels an intense urge for Brahmavichara. That person is blessed. Dhanyaha. Dhanyosi Krutakrityosi. Krutakritya means, simple meaning of that is, I am fulfilled. But teaching has not even begun. And teacher is saying, you are fulfilled. What is the meaning of Krutakritya here? Krutakritya means Kruta Upasti. One who has done Upasana. One who has cultivated love for God. He says that person is blessed. That person you are. Dhanyaha asi, Krutakrityaha asi. Pavitam te kulam tvaya. This is a very beautiful phrase. Because you are walking on the spiritual path, it is not a self-centered pursuit. You have actually purified your whole lineage. The punya gained by the person who is walking on the spiritual path is shared by his entire lineage. Pavitam te kulam tvaya. There is one beautiful verse for this. Kulam pavitram janani krutartha. Kulam pavitram means entire lineage has become purified. The pain that the mother went through in giving birth to the child, that pain is worthwhile. Vasundhara punyavati cha tena. The earth feels I have become blessed because such a person is walking on me. Who is this person? Apara samvit sukha sagare ismin. In this vast, blissful ocean of consciousness, one whose mind is reveling. Leenam pare brahmani asya chetah, one whose mind is reveling there, that person has purified his lineage, his mother feels fulfilled, and the earth feels blessed. This verse is saying, at no point we should feel the prayers that we do, japa that we do, dhyana that we do, study of scriptures. It's a self-centered pursuit. If we can do it sincerely, if we can put our mind in God during our prayer and japa, the result of that can come to the entire family. Sometimes that kind of help is much more powerful than direct help. When we do direct help, Jiva is trying to help another Jiva. When you help others through God, Ishvara is trying to help a Jiva. So Ishvara's power is much more powerful, much more greater than Jiva's. I remember in one writing, Swami Akhandanandji Maharaj, he used to do a lot of Bhagavad Saptas. And he used to stay in different people's homes and so on. One family was very pious family in Kolkata. He went and stayed with them, did Bhagavad Sapta there. The husband was a business person. So he would travel the world, hardly at home. Wife was a pious lady who was into Bhagavad chanting, organizing Sapta and everything. In one of their Saptas, husband also happened to be at home. So Akhandanandji Maharaj tells him, don't think that the success you are having in your business deals is coming only because of your skills. A lot of it also has to do with the Bhagavad Parayan that happens in your puja room. If a person can do it sincerely, it has the power to purify the entire lineage. And in doing this, nobody can stop us. There is no obstacle. Main obstacle will be tamoguna. Main obstacle will be rajoguna. Pavitam te kulam tvaya. Yada vidya bandha muktya brahmi bhavitum ichchasi. You want to be free from bondage by gaining self-knowledge. This intense desire has come to you, therefore you are blessed. Now 51st verse to 53rd verse are talking about the importance of self-effort. Main idea here is moksha cannot be outsourced. No proxy for moksha. You cannot say, you do Shravanam, I will get liberated. You cultivate sadhana chatushtaya, I will get liberated. See, other three purusharthas. How many purusharthas are there? Dharma, artha, kama, moksha. Dharma, artha, kama can have proxy. Dharma, for example, recently Kumbh Mela happened. So many yajnas and havans happened there. So if you are here, you can perform a yajna there in your name. I mean that Panditji will read the right location, right yajman name, and the punya coming from that yajna comes to this yajman here. Even if he didn't do it, somebody else could do it for him. That is dharma. Artha purushartha. You can ask people to take care of your artha. Franchise. One person cannot be in whole country. He says, you run this shop, you run that shop. He can open it. So you can outsource. Kama purushartha, if you want some comfort, you can ask people to get it for you. You don't have to do it yourself. But he says, moksha, nobody can help us there. So much so that even Bhagavan and Guru cannot give us moksha. Bhagavan and Guru can give us conducive environment and knowledge. They cannot come and hand over moksha. Why can't Guru give us moksha? Okay, let me put it differently. Is moksha something that can be given? What is the definition of bondage? Erroneous identification is bondage. Now, where is this erroneous identification? Who is holding on to this erroneous identification? Guru or Shishya? We are holding on to it. So, unless we want to let go, Guru cannot do anything for us. Meaning what? We will have to put forth our effort. When we put forth our effort and see the result of this knowledge, what is the statement a student should make? What got me this result? Not my effort. He says, Bhagavan and Guru's grace. It's a very sweet confluence, you know. From the student side, the advice is only self-effort. And his own conviction is, what got me this is grace. I mean, Shankaracharya wants to tell us, don't have this idea that moksha will happen if I'm destined to be free. If it is in my prarabdha, I will get free one day. He said there is nothing called as prarabdha moksha. It is attained through purushartha. You see the next verse, 51st verse. Runamochana kartarah pitus santi sutadayah bandhamochana kartatu स्वस्मादन्यो न कश्चन ऋणमोचनकर्तारः पितुः सन्ति सुतादयः बन्धमोचनकर्ता तु स्वस्मादन्यो न कश्चन. पितुः ऋणमोचनकर्तारः sutadayah santi. This is an ideal son. He asks his father, "Father, what do you want?" Father says, "Get me some different stick." He gets it. His bed is not comfortable. New bed comes. Anything the father mentions, son brings. Next, what do you want? Father says, "In our village, I have an old loan which is pending." Son says, "Don't even think about it. I'll clear it off." That is this example. Pituhu runamochana karta. Runa means loan. Runamochana means those who are paying off the debt. Sutadaya santi. Children or other people, they can do it. He wants to go for pilgrimage, they can take him. He wants to give charity somewhere, children can give on his behalf. But if father says, "I want moksha. I want to be free from this bondage." Bandhamochana karta tu swasmadanyah na kaschana. Freedom from bondage other than oneself, nobody can do it for us. Even if the child is avatar of the Lord. The story comes in Srimad Bhagavatam. Vasudevji goes to Naradji and he says, "Teach me self-knowledge. I want to be free from samsara." Naradji says, "Your son is Bhagavan Krishna. Loka Guru, Jagat Guru is your son." Vasudevji says, "That is the whole problem." I took him very casually, and whenever I would ask him about bondage, he would just brush it off with some other topics. Now I am not going anywhere. Teach me this self-knowledge. Then Naradji teaches him, called as Navayogishvara Samvada. Raja Nimi's story comes there. What does it indicate? Bandhamochana karta tu swasmadanyah na kaschana. Children can do several things for the father, but for moksha, one has to strive oneself. One commentator, he writes very nicely, "Your freedom is not your neighbor's freedom. Your wisdom is not your neighbor's wisdom." So bondage is because of ignorance. So knowledge has to take place in that intellect where there is ignorance. Guru being realized doesn't help the student in his journey. Because the knowledge has taken place in Guru's intellect. That avidya is gone. Sometimes you hear this statement, right? "My great-grandfather was a great scholar of Vedanta." Must be. But it doesn't help my moksha directly. How will it help? Pavitam te kulam tvaya. We will be born with spiritual samskaras. There will be spiritual atmosphere in the home. Some old books might be there that he has left. In that way it will help. But because great-grandfather was a great scholar, great-grandchild will get moksha, no guarantee. Next example, 52nd verse. Mastakanyasta bharadehe dukkhamanyir nivaryate kshudhadikruta dukkham tu vinasvena na kenachit mastakanyasta bharadehe dukkhamanyir nivaryate Kshudhadikrita dukkham tu vinasvena na kenachit. You split these words carefully. Huh? Mastaka, nyasta, bharadehe. Mastaka means head. Nyasta means kept. Bharadehi means the weight which is kept on head. Dukkham, the sorrow which is coming because of that. Anyaihi nivaryate. Other people can help us in reducing that sorrow. Other people can help us in removing the sorrow coming from burden kept on the head. But if my sorrow is coming because of hunger, unless I eat myself, nobody else can remove that sorrow for me. Kshudhadikrita dukkham tu vinasvena na kenachit. If I am hungry, I will have to eat myself. So in the spiritual path, this hunger is representing the sorrow born out of ignorance, sorrow born out of agitations of the mind. Somebody else developing a beautiful mind will not help us in our journey. We'll have to cultivate it for ourselves. This point we have to be very careful. When we discuss life of saints, it is good to get inspired. But we should not just remain at discussing life of saints. Some saintly value, at least 1-2%. Strolling, it should come to us slowly. If not 100%, because they are exalted expressions of all divine qualities. So that discussion on life of saint is to get inspired to live a saintly life. So this example is referring to that. Somebody else cultivating divine qualities is not going to remove my sorrow. I will have to struggle with my mind myself. Why struggle? You can say, I will have to work with my mind myself. Then the next verse, different example. Pathyamaushada sevacha kriyate yena rogina arogya siddhir drishtasya nanya nushtita karamana patyamaushadha sevacha kriyate yena rogina arogya siddhir drishtasya nanya nushtita karamana. Yena rogina, by that patient, one who has done pathyam. Pathyam means followed the diet. And aushada seva, taken the right medicines at the right time. One who follows the diet and takes the medicines correctly, only in that person, arogya siddhir drishta. Good health is regained, it is seen in that person. If let's say a child has fever, mother out of compassion feels, why the bitter medicine for the child? And she takes the medicine. Na anya anushtita karmana. If I have a problem, somebody else takes the medicine, good health is not regained in me. What is the symbolic meaning of diet over here? Not intermittent fasting. Diet is sadhana chatushtaya. What is the medicine? Shravanam, mananam, nididhyasanam. So medicine has to be taken by following the appropriate diet. Then only the medicine can work. So when will my Shravanam, Mananam, Nididhyasanam work? When I do them focusing on sadhana chatushtaya. Which text have we studied sadhana chatushtaya? Which chapter of Bhagavad Gita? Vivekachoodamani. So elaborate description was there, such that whenever this word is used, we know what we are referring to. Viveka, Vairagya, Shama, Dama, Uparama, Shraddha, Samadhana, Mumukshutvam, Titiksha. Everything should be there. Along with that, when I do Shravanam, that is when this knowledge starts working. Yena rogina pathyam aushadha sevacha kriyate asya eva arogya siddhir drushta. So if pathyam was sadhana chatushtaya, medicine was shravanam, mananam, nididhyasanam. What is meant by good health? Good health is self-abidance, moksha. Ramana Maharshi uses the precise words. Hrutsthale mana swasthata kriya. Hrutsthale mana swasthata. When the mind abides in the self, that is true health of the mind. There are only two places mind can abide. One is the self, another is the ego. When I say I, there are two I's which can come forth. One I can refer to the self, another I can refer to ahankara. This is referring I to ahankara is sickness, spiritual disease. Actually, Goswamiji has elaborated on this portion. He calls it as Manasa Roga. And different facets he points out how to cure this Manasa Roga. Identifying with ego, giving lot of reality to it, considering it to be my only identity, I'll not be at ease with myself. True health is when I understand my own true nature as blissful self. That is arogya. So once in a while we have to do health checkup. Spiritual health checkup. What is the question in that questionnaire? Only two questions. First, a tree is shown. What do you see? What should be our answer? Consciousness conditioned by tree. That is the right vision. And another question is, when you say I, what does that I refer to? It should refer to pure consciousness. These two things, if they happen, arogya siddhi is there. Essential nature of world is understood to be consciousness. And my essential nature is also consciousness. Next verse is telling us it is important to strive to get first-hand experience of the self. This self-knowledge should not be hearsay. Having heard it, we should pay attention to actually see it. See what it says. Vastu swarupam sputa Bodha Chakshusha Svenaiva Vedyam Natu Panditena Chandraswarupam Nija Chakshushaiva Jnatavyamanyairavagammyate kim Vastuswarupam sputa Bodha Chakshusha Svenaiva Vedyam Natu Panditena Chandraswarupam Nija Chakshushaiva Jnatavyamanyairavagammyate kim. Vastu Swarupam. Vastu here refers to consciousness, the self. The blissful nature of the self, Svena eva Vedyam. Second line you see. One should see it, one should know it by oneself. So after studying Vedanta for several years, our statement should not be, Upanishads say, Atma is of the nature of bliss. Some Mahatma says, Atma is blissful. You say, what should be our effort? I should be able to see my own blissful nature. I should be able to turn my attention away from not self and recognize my nature as blissful self. How will I do it? If I have to see the truth, through which eyes will I see the truth? Sputa Bodha Chakshusha. Chakshusha means through the eyes. Sputa Bodha means clear, doubtless knowledge. If I have to see that tree and call it as consciousness conditioned by tree, which eye am I using to make this statement? Not physical eyes, the eye of knowledge. And if I have to say the next statement, that there is only consciousness, tree is an appearance in consciousness, that statement also is Bodha Chakshu. Not Charma Chakshu, but Sputa Bodha Chakshu. See, this in Puranic language is dramatized in a beautiful way. How many eyes does Lord Shiva have? 3 eyes. What is his third eye called? Gyana Chakshu. When Kamadeva comes, which eye does he open to burn Kamadeva down? Third eye. What it means is, Kamadeva represents names and forms of this world. And the third eye represents seeing beyond the names and forms, recognizing that underlying consciousness. If you use these 2 eyes, it will only show names and forms. The Sputa Bodha Chakshu, eye of wisdom, negates names and forms and helps us pay attention to the self. Through those eyes alone, one should see the self. And who has to gain this new third eye now? Not somebody else, not even the Guru, not even a great Pandita. He says, I will have to gain it myself. If somebody asks me, what is this? What should be our answer? Not mic. Consciousness conditioned by mic. This Bodha Chakshu we have to cultivate. Eyes are showing me mic. And eyes will continue to show mic. Don't think after knowledge, eyes will show something else. But my third eye of wisdom should override my Charma Chakshu. This is Vedanta. Huh? Vedanta will not physically change anything outside. Knowledge overrides perception. And we see these examples in material world also. If you go out and see the sky, what are eyes reporting? Which color is the sky? Blue color. What does my knowledge tell me? Does sky have color? I say sky is colorless. So knowledge is overriding my perception. You put a stick in water, stick looks bent. But we know that stick is not bent. So eyes are showing it to be bent, but knowledge is overriding my perception. So here also, Sputa Bodha Chakshusha means my knowledge should override perception of duality. And Natu Panditena, somebody else is a great Pandita and sees the truth in this way, that is not going to help. Like how Chandra Swarupam Nija Chakshu Shaiva. Yesterday was a full moon. Today also you can try this. If I describe to you how nice that full moon was, while coming from San Ramon, it was so nice and beautiful. I was telling the driver not to look. Time and again he's describing that moon to me. I said, I can see it, you look on the road. Now that description, no matter how beautifully I describe, unless I see it with my own eyes, that description is no good. Jnatavyam anyehi avagamyate kim. If somebody else has seen a beautiful moon, will that suffice in me experiencing the joy of the soothing power, the calmness of that moon? He says that will not suffice. I will have to see the moon myself. What is the moon referring to here? Blissful nature of the self. Because what we are interested in is bliss. Somebody else has become blissful, somebody else has gained knowledge of blissful self, will not remove my sorrow. So just like that moon, I will have to see this truth for myself. Okay, so this entire topic was to emphasize self-effort. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.